Let's bring in Paul Smith, Associate Professor in French and Francophone Studies at the University of Nottingham. Hello to you, Paul. How are you? Thank you for joining us on the program. What did you make of how Macron's tried to jumpstart this second term?
Well, I think it's very interesting that he's kept, despite a lot of rumours to the contrary, he kept Elisabeth Borne and announced that early on. To me, it seems that one of the key changes isn't so much at the cabinet level, but bringing in a new assistant, a new head of her cabinet, her personal cabinet, senior civil servant, Jean-Denis Combrexel, who's clearly been brought in. He's come across from justice to move the whole kind of the relationship with the social partners forward, and that's a very important change. But I think to go back to what Clovis was saying about the replacement of, and you were saying about the replacement of the education minister, Ndiaye, to be replaced by Attal, that's a really key change. A lot of us thought that the appointment of Ndiaye was quite an important one, symbolic, but for various reasons, on lots of different things coming into play here, that hasn't worked. Either the minister has failed to really energise the teachers in France, but also it's been seen that there's the knee-jerk response to the riots has been very much a law and order response. So I think that a lot of people are reading it that way in particular.
Was this a reshuffle as simple as most embattled ministers were let go and those closest to Macron were rewarded?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very political reshuffle in the sense of obviously reshuffles are political, but these are politicians that are being brought in. A lot of comments have been made about a number of people who were brought in 2002 who were from outside of politics, what are called civilian ministers, as it were. They've gone. They've been replaced by very much the Macronistas. It's interesting that this is kind of nobody from the right of Macronie was replaced. So very much a shift to the right. Also, suggestions that Ndiaye was paying for outspoken comments he made about CNews, this channel that's owned by Bolloré, as being a far-right TV channel. So there's kind of a stiffening of resolve there. So lots of different factors, in fact, behind what looks like quite a superficial series of changes.
Yeah, and moving forward, the French government still needs to find a way to try to heal the divisions in the country. Macron said it himself. The unrest we saw from last month's riots risk dividing the people. Is this the right team to move forward, considering that some of the most high-profile faces of this government, which has had low approval ratings, are still in power?
Well, I mean, whether they're the right team or not is, we'll have to wait and see. The point of appointing them now is that they've got the summer to get on top of their briefs. But whether the appointment of Attal is interesting at education, but we haven't changed the interior minister. The cities minister is coming under the interior ministry. So is the overseas ministry. So that's still very much Darmanin's province. And although today Macron was talking a lot about also the importance of putting investment into the idea of supporting young people who find themselves struggling within particular, banlieue and families and so forth, there's an awful lot of proof in the eating of the pudding that needs to be shown. There's a lot of rhetoric there, but whether that will actually be delivered, and nothing has been said. I suppose, Macron would say we leave that to the judicial process, but nothing has been said about the situation with regard to police violence. And that's something that I think a lot of people in France, the public opinion probably supported Macron's response. There are also people in France thinking, what's the other side of this coin?
Yeah, surely a lot of work still needs to be done on both sides. Paul, thank you very much for your time. Paul Smith speaking to us from Nottingham.